entire course into 2 days, which is today and tomorrow, and we'll be trying to cover maximum case studies on the various important tools of Excel. Now, Excel, as we say, that it's a never-ending topic. Like even after doing it for last 12 or 15 years, I still feel that I don't even know 10% of it. So it's a never-ending subject. The more we practice, the more we work on it, and the more we let me close my Skype because it will keep on disturbing. Yes. So the more we practice Excel, and the best way we can do that is by actually using the tools of Excel into our practical work. If we are not utilizing important customized tool, automation tool into the work which we are doing, we will never be able to learn it. And the best part is, another big challenge is that many times we see the video, we see the session, we like it, we say, wow, this is great. But then we have to use a logical mind, how we can use this into the practical work which we are doing. Once you start doing that, and don't delegate that work, again, that's the second important thing to do. Practice yourself. It is you who have to practice this. And what I will do is that after the end of this session, because I want all of you to watch, because it's not possible to work and watch, and I'll go very, very slow. I always get, because I'm very grateful to VIP who has given me almost 90 minutes to cover this session. So we'll be doing 90 minutes today and 90 minutes tomorrow. And for the first, like the way the session is going to get divided is that I'll be spending 10 minutes on the broader part, and then roughly around 70 minutes on the Excel case studies, and the rest 10 to 15 minutes on the question answers. So as suggested by Rahul, what we can do is, if we have questions at any point of time, we can always, put that on chat box, and then just 1 second. We can put that on chat box, and then, I'll go through those chat one by one and try to answer as many questions as I can. Rahul, can you stop sharing your screen? Because I think you are sharing your screen, which is coming up to all the participants. Someone is sharing the screen. So let me.
Actually, it's not me. I think it's one of the participants.
Yeah. So let me.
You start sharing your screen, Bhaiya. So
I'll do that. That's what I'm going to do. So what I will do is that I'll share my screen, and we will straight away go into.
Correct. Now, no one else can share their screen. Yeah.
Right. Yes. So before even doing that, we all are very well. We are into a very pandemic situation, and this situation now is not the situation which has happened for the first time in the world. We had seen this kind of pandemic situation in the back also. Like, I'll give you one example of internet revolution when it came in, and everybody started thinking that it's going to end many small businesses. But today, those who have changed the process, those who have adapted to the new ways of doing their work, they had been very successful. This is the time for we as professionals to really buckle up, really come up come up with new ways and new process, wherein we can show to our clients how they can really make difference in their business. This is a time to upskill ourselves, to challenge ourselves, and learn all the new ways and techniques in which we can do the work very efficiently, because there are always two situations which is very important. One is, we are either in a survival mode or a reinvention mode. Now, what are these two modes? A survival mode is a mode wherein we all are thinking, all right, we had been sitting at home, and after 15 days, after 20 days, or after a month, we are going to go back to office, and then we'll continue to do what we had been doing in the past. We'll be continuing to do what we had been doing in the past, and that is called a survival mode. The reinventing mode is a mode wherein we understood that the world is going to change completely post-COVID. Once we get out of this COVID, situation wherein, we all can freely shake hands with each other, we can freely move the way we were doing, 1.5 months back. That time will come. I don't know whether after 3 months or 6 months or maybe a year, but then the world is going to change. The expectations are going to change. People will start looking you in a different way. They will start expecting things in a different way. That point of time, if we are not upskilled, if we don't know the right way of delivering our services in a most cost effective manner, if we are not using the best use of technology at that particular point of time, we will be left behind. Because even we never thought that so many associations would be doing such a wonderful webinars almost every day, which was never been possible during the physical seminars. Today, just in before we started, like at 4 o'clock we started, we had the full house. I had done sessions of Excel where more than 1,000 participants had participated, and still there were more people who wanted to get into that. So this is the change which we need to understand. This is going to be a new world where we need to learn how we can manage our work, our employees, and our client 100% online. And just a beginning of that is Excel. Excel is not the end. If we don't know the basic of Excel, think about in these 15 days or 1 month, you need to develop yourself or upskill yourself, not just to know the basics of Excel or the advanced part of Excel. You need to see how you can play with the Excel and create wonderful reports. The next journey which you are going to do is start with, learning a pivot table, learning a Power Query. We are going to do Power Query tomorrow, learn Power Pivot, learn macros. And then once you get through that level, get to the level of Power BI. Because tomorrow you're not going to, work on manual data. It's all going to get automated. Learn Power BI. Once you have covered Power BI, then go to R, go to Python. So this is the journey which you need to decide. And this is where the future is. Because everything is going to get automated. Think about a situation wherein the GST, like I have seen the session of Mr. Venugopal on GST compliance, where he has completely automated the entire GST compliance features. Now think of a situation, if everything is going to get automated, we only are required for analyzing the data, interpreting the data, and basically creating wonderful dynamic reports out of it. That is the area where we will be focusing upon, and we should learn how we should get to that level. The simple roadmap is that whatever which I am showing to you, these videos are all available on YouTube. They are available on Udemy. If you go to udemy.com, Udemy, you'll find hundreds and thousands of courses at the cost of not even 200, 300, 400 rupees only, where you get 25, 30, 40 hours of video lectures from the best of the best faculties, from where you can take your knowledge, take your skills to the next level. The idea is to get started, get yourself into a silent zone, get yourself prepared to upskill yourself for the future. This is the time when we always say that we never get time to learn or upskill ourselves. God has given us this, we have to look into the positive side. God has given us the opportunity wherein we need to learn new skills today. So this was all about the broader introductions. Many of you must be thinking, Sanjeev, let's get started on Excel and let's do that. I know that there are various, audience who must be knowing many things which I'm going to show, but then there are very senior professionals also who might not be knowing the things. So I have to go step by step, but I can assure you that we are going to cover, almost 99 to 100%, these 2 days, 99 to 100% of all the major tools which we are going to use in Excel, in Microsoft Excel, from basic to advanced, to Power Query, to Power Pivot, and to macros. That's the journey which we are going to do in these 2 days. So stay tuned with that. Thank you. Now let's start with the first very basic thing is sum command. When we try to...
Sanjeev, yes. Sorry to interrupt. Sanjeev, we are just sharing the link which you have shared on Google Drive on our chat and also on Facebook comments. So if you can just talk about it a little bit, that case study. Yeah.
I have shared these Excel files to all of you. You can download that. It's up to you whether you want to do it parallelly, but don't worry. This entire video will be available. You can always relax. You just watch. And then once you are done with this, you can always go through these videos and, practice it yourself. Because once you practice it in your own way, then it will give you a lot of confidence and will give you a lot of motivations to learn more on it. You will see all the possibilities of doing it. Just 1 second. Yes, so I think everyone is looking for the Excel file which Rahul is going to share. So let's start with this. And now we're already at 4:10. So I'll spend another 70 minutes only on this. Now let's imagine a situation that we want to add up all these 2015 sales. Now there are many ways we do it. We love this command, Sigma over here, where we say, all right, let's click this and do it. Great. That's one way we do it. But please understand the situation that what I'm working on right now is just a 17 rows. In your real life situation, you'll be getting 17,000 or 7 million rows. You're not going to add it like this. What's the second way? Well, we'll use equals to sum command. That's another way to do it. So what I will do is equals to sum command, and then I'll go on the top. The shortcut is Control up arrow key and then Control shift down. We can even do that. Well, even this is not a great way. Another shortcut for this is Alt equals to Alt, A-L-T, and then equals to sign. Press both of these together, which means you will say Alt equals to, it automatically calls the entire range of cells which are there available. And it selects the entire cell. You don't need to manually drag and select the entire cell. So if you use Alt equals to, that's a shortcut command to call the sum function. Once we click that and hit enter, you see over here, it brings the total. Great. So we can use equals to sum command, we can use Sigma, we can use Alt equals to, we can use any way we want. But let's do the same thing over here. Before even going to that, I just wanted to share you something very important. Like many a times, if I want to know the total sales, let me make this a little bigger for all of you to see. If I want to do a total sales from April 2015 to March 2016, which means I want to know the total from year till year and then from year till year. Let me color this for you. So I want a total of this entire data. How will I do that? Let's try this out. So I'll say equals to sum, right? We have learned that. And I'll come up over here, let's say with a mouse or with a drag. Now I'll select this table. Okay. Now, how will I select this guy? As soon as I select, January 2016, the selection is going to go away. What should I do? This is the challenge which many of us are facing. How should I do multi-selection? And without even using the mouse, well, you will say, well, Sanjeev, you can hit shift and you can select it. Without using the mouse, how can I do that selection? There's a very interesting thing which I wanted to share with you, which is comma. If you use comma, the selection becomes permanent. It will stay where it is, and then you can move your cursor wherever you want and then take another selection. This way, you can add another comma and you can do more selections. So with the comma, you can have multiple selections. Just remember that if you can take a note of this as well. Just with comma, you can do multiple selections of all the data which you want to select. And then you close the bracket and hit enter. That's what your total is, 825.9. This is basically a total of April 2015 to March 2016. And that brings your total, 825. So this is a small little thing which I wanted to share, the power of comma. The power of comma, that how comma helps you do multiple selections. Now moving further on this, if I want to know the total of these guys without using the mouse and without using Sigma, again, everyone will say, well, we just learned that we'll use Alt equals to, so we will use Alt equals to again. Well, this is not going to work right now, because what's going to happen if I'm using Alt equals to, it is only going to select the cells which are filled up, and if there's any blank cells between that, it will not take that into consideration. This is the challenge which we have. How should I make sure that I get all the selections without using the mouse? Because imagine a situation that, let's say you're working on 780 records and there are 15 records in between which are blank. Now you cannot go and search those. So what's the best possible way to do that? Well, the answer can be, why don't I fill all the blanks with some zero data? Well, you cannot go manually and do 0 here and then hit here and put 0 here. That's not possible. With a small data, yes, but with a large set of data, how can I automate this? Because what we are going to learn in this is efficiency. That's our first objective. How we can be more efficient. So efficiency is our first objective. The second objective we are going to learn once we go more and more advanced is how we can extract data, how we can clean data, and how we can interpret data, and then how we can take meaningful decision based on this data. These are the entire objectives which we are going to cover. But right now we are working on efficiency. So what is the best way I can select this whole thing? There's a very important command which is called Control and G. If anybody who has never seen this Control G, have never used this is a very interesting thing to learn today. Control G. What you're going to do is you're going to select this whole cell, Control Shift down to select the cells. And then once your entire cells is selected, you will say, well, you can say, well, I can always, once I select the cell, I can always do Sigma. Well, in this case, yes, but if it's a large set of data, you can use Control Shift N to select the whole data and then call Control G. Now, what Control G does, the meaning of Control G is, it is telling the Excel, hey, Excel, please go to a particular location or a particular set of commands. It is actually asking Excel to do certain things which they want to do. So I'll go to Special. And if you see, there are various options over here. This helps us a lot while cleaning the data. But right now, I am telling Excel to go to all the blank cells. That's my objective. Please take me to all the blank cells. I hit OK over here. And if you see over here, these two blank cells are selected automatically. If I click anywhere, the selection is going to go away. Now, once my selection is done, my second step is to fill that up with 0. So I'll type in 0 and I will not press enter, because if I do press enter, what will happen is that it will not be copied to the other selection. In that case, I'm going to use Control Enter. Control Enter is a very powerful command. The third thing which you are learning is Control and Enter. Now what Control Enter does, it allows you to copy the selection of all the selected cells. Example, if let's say I have this as a big selection, okay? And if I type in VIP just at one place, and I have this entire selection, and now if I use Control Enter, it automatically copies that data cells into all the selected cells. I'll give you one more example. If I use, let's say, year, and year, and if I type in VIP again, and if I add Control Enter, it copies to all the places where there are selections. Not just the data, even if you had formula at one places, it will copy the formula into all the relevant selected cells. So that's the advantage of Control Enter. It's very, very powerful. So in this case, once we had the selection done by Control G, we can use Control Enter to copy 0 into both the selections. Once that is done, now my job is very easy. I can hit Alt equals to simply drag the whole thing because there is no blank cells anymore, and I get my total. This is how you can take the use of Control G at many occasions. Alt equals to Control Enter, many occasions, and you will learn how we can work around with that. These are just examples to show you the power, but now you have to start thinking how I can use this power into my existing work. That is going to make this session more meaningful. Just learning this thing in this Excel will not make you go anywhere. Utilizing this power and the features and using that into your existing work paper is what you need to learn. Let's go to the next step. It's count. Well, we all know count. Count, when we go in the down and we see there is numbers some coming up, that's called count. So let's say if I do the count function, and if I select this cell, I select anywhere, Control up arrow key, right? And Control Shift down. What do you think will be my answer over here? Can anybody type on chat? What do you think should be my answer? If I hit enter, 19. Okay. Wow. So there are many who are good. Let me see. Let me come back here. Well, it is 0. Why? Can anyone tell me in the chat? Yes, number of row, it comes to 0. Why it is not 19? Because we see that they are 19 out of 21 is blank, that there is 19. Then why 0 is coming? Anybody wants to type? Yes, KCP, you are right. Well, we had the count returns only the numeric values, not the text value. This is where 90% of the person get confused. This will never return any value. We always get confused. When we see down on the right-hand side, what it shows to us is count A, which is a second function. It is not count. It is a confusing. If I use count A, now many of you may get confused. Count A means alphabets. No, count A means count all. Count everything, which includes numbers, text. Now, if I hit enter, I think you will get to that same answer of 19. But if you use count, and this is very, very important when you are working on an inventory and you want to show reports based on count, based on alphabets count or based on numeric counts, then we need to use and apply functions which are called count A when we want to count everything and count when we want to count numbers only. All right, great. Now let me see who can answer this question. If I use count into this equals to count, don't practice in the Excel which I've given you. Just see and give me the answer in the chat. What should be the answer if I hit enter? Anyone? 18. Great. Good, Naresh. No, Arvind, yes. It will come up with 18. Why? Because we have two text over here. We have two text over here. That's why it will come to 18. Perfect. But if I use count A over here, what will happen? It will show me as 20. And we do that as count A, enter, it will show me 20, which means it adds up all things. A question may come, how will I get only alphabets? Well, in that case, you have to use count A minus count. There is no formula so far as my knowledge goes, which is relevant only for alphabet. So count A, don't get confused. It is not for alphabet. It's for everything. Except blank set, we calculate everything, the number of rows, and count is only for numeric values. Just remember these two things, which becomes very important for you. Okay? Let's move further. Space special. This is very easy, but then, as I said, there are many who are very senior members who have never done this. Let's do that do it for them for 2 minutes. Let's imagine a situation we have, the income of different individuals, and we want to calculate, let's say, 10%. By mistake, it's been written 30%. Let's say 10%. And what we did is we have a formula called equals to, income multiplied by 10%, rounded off. If I want to do that. And this is my answer to all of this. Now what I want is I want this text to be copied and pasted over here with the age. What will happen? It copies the formula. It doesn't copy the data. It copies the formula. Now what happens? The Excel is working on a self-referencing model, which we are going to see in the next, after a few, slides. Is what it does. It actually takes the formula with the age. This is not what we want. We want exactly this data to be copied. So in this case, we cannot use Control C and Control V. We have to use space special. And to do that, we'll copy this. I'll come back over here and we can use right click paste special, or we can use Alt ESV. Alt ESV. Or we can, I've written it over here, and this Excel you all must be receiving. So you can use Alt ESV and we will paste the value. A value means it is actually the hard code data. It will not copy the formula. If I want to copy the formula, I'll use formulas. But in this case, I'm using values. Okay. Then it copies the actual data right over here instead of copying the formula. And see, there is no formula in this. There's a formula over here, but there's no formula. It just copies the hard code data. That's the power of paste special. Many times, many of us get confused how to copy and paste this. So in this way, you have to use right click paste special. All right, filter is, both a basic and an advanced, but filter is important when we are trying to filter out. Now here where the extracting is coming, as I said, first is efficiency. Now filter is used for extracting information. Once you have a bunch of data and you want to extract some information, filter is very important. When you want to clean something, when you want to filter out something, filter is a very important command for that. I'll say control up arrow key to get me on top of the table, control home and control up arrow key. The difference is control home always takes you to A1 and control up arrow key always takes you to the top of the table. That's what we need to understand. So in this case, we want to go to control up arrow key and to start the filter, we need to select this table as control A. Now, please be very sure that when you're using control A, if there's any blank cells in between, if you use control A, it will only select this table, which means that if let's say you have a 9,000 rows table and there's a blank row after 7,850 records, you will never get to know it. But then the 1,150 records which are left, that is not coming in your filter. So please be very sure that there are no blank rows. And to avoid that, I can just give you that command which is called control shift and end. Control shift end. What it does is that even if there are blank rows in between, it will still copy and select the whole thing. Then you can always go back and shift the thing and make the selection. See, control shift end I use to do this. But if you're very sure that you don't have any data, any blank rows, the best command you can use is control A. So select the table and we'll go to data filter. Data filter, the shortcut is Alt DF. So that's how you can select and activate this filter command. There are many possibilities over here which you can do. One is, if let's say I want to know, there are so many companies over here with country, city, location, and amount. I want to know all the companies which are based in Calcutta, okay? And I want to know the location to be APJ House, okay? Boom, I can easily get all of this. Now what can happen over here? If I want a total of all of this, again, we have learned the sum command, equals to sum, and I'll select this whole cells. I want to see the answer. Am I doing something correct? Please respond to me on the chat. Is this a right answer? I've got an answer from Gaurav, Amit. No. I'll tell you why. This is not a right answer. You're absolutely right. Because what is happening, it is taking the complete selection from E25 to 260. It is not taking only the filtered data. So this is not the right answer. What should we do? Yes, I got one answer from many of you. It's Alt equals to. Well, Sanjeev, you just told me that Alt equals to brings in a sum function. But Excel is very smart. As soon as it sees the filtered data, Alt equals to bring in subtotal function. Watch here. It's a subtotal function with that same formula. It is bringing the subtotal function. So this is how you can do the subtotal. We are going to learn subtotal, which means it is taking the entire selection, but it is saying, subtotal 9 of E12 to 267, which means, what is this 9? Let's understand this. What is this 9? If I want to know 9, let me see that. All right, 9 means sum. That means I want to add all the data which are filtered. Then I will use 9. But what if I want to use count into this and hit tab and enter? It brings in 9. We have the 9 rows, so it brings in 9. You can do, the average. You can do count. There's so many possibilities you can do right now. You can do sum, you can do variable, you can do average, count, maximum, minimum, anything which you want to do. But let's stick to the sum which we had. Enter. And the beauty is that this is auto filtered, which means now if I want to know from APJ House to Park Plaza, it automatically updates my formula. The subtotal is very powerful. It updates my formula. So this is how you can filter your data the way you want. You can do so many things on filter, like if I want to know my text filter, any company which contains meals, I can even do that. I have two companies which are meals. I can filter by color. I can filter the way I want. So I have a huge database and I want to know multiple filters that what if, my salary is this and the person is living in this and this and this. It filters out the data and give you what you want. This is the power of filter. Going further, let's go to transpose, which is very simple. It's mostly used, once we want to transform this entire thing into a horizontal to vertical or vertical to horizontal format. What we do is that we select this and then we click a command and we say paste special transpose. We can use a shortcut for this also, which is Alt ESE, which is written over here, Alt ESE. And as soon as we do that, we can get all the data, in the data format transposed. We can always select all of this and use double click to see all the data together. This data is coming up in a horizontal format instead of vertical format. So this is, at times we use this. We can even link this, but I'm not going to take you there. I'm here to tell you at least 50 different tools on Excel which we are going to use today. Let's go further. In this particular exercise, what we are going to learn is more advanced function on Control G. And then we are going to do a small little exercise on that. Today is mostly, we are trying to brush up our knowledge on Excel and do a little bit more on advanced. But tomorrow we are going to, practice and learn Power Query, macros, Power Pivot, and many other advanced tools on pivot table. So let's do this. If I'm using this Control G, let's imagine this is a situation wherein we have a bunch of data. And what happens is somebody has actually, gone in and changed this number. He has gone in and changed this number and added, 100 to this. Let's say I go in and add 100 over here. I went in over here because this was a very low data, and I multiplied this by, 25. And you get this shit. You don't know where the formula has been written. Now, there are many ways to do this. A shortcut can be Control T key also, which is just below the escape key. But let me show you how Control G helps you in this. If I select this whole table, Control A, and if I call Control G function, I can do so many things from here. I can hit blanks to get all my blank rows. Let me go to home and I can see all my blank rows selected automatically. I can again go to Control A, Control G, and I can go in and say, hey, show me all the formulas which contains errors. So I can remove all of these and I can say all the errors. So it will automatically pull up all the formulas with errors as this. See, now if I want to know, well, I had just, done some formula, show me that. So I'll use Control G again, special. And this time what I'll do is I'll say formulas and I'll remove the errors. Okay. It pulls me all the formulas which I had just manually entered. See, this is a formula. This is a formula. This is a formula. This is a formula. So this can be a very quick auditing tool, a very, very small little example, which we call as a formula auditing tool, which I've just shown to you. Control G can be used for formula audit, for actually understanding. Then you can, once you go a little more advanced, you can learn precedence, what was done, just before this, just after this. So there are a bunch of things over here which you can learn in the advanced feature. As I said, this is a never-ending exercise. We have dependents, we have precedents, we have visible cells. There's so many conditional formattings over here, which you can practice going into YouTube. Because if I only do go to special, this will take me 2 days only to cover go to special. Now let's do an exercise right now. If imagine a situation, we get a table like this. I think many of you must have attended my sessions, and if you get a table like this, and if I say to you, hey, fill this blank cell with this data, and fill this with this particular data, and fill this with this, and this is how continue this whole shit at a click of a button. How will you do that? I want to know if anybody wants to put on chat the answer if they know. If they don't, I'll do it for you. But if anybody know, they want to just type the steps on the chat. All right. Amit Thakur is going close. So he's saying me, all right, select the whole table. That's the first step you need to take. always. So what we will do is we select the table. My table is selected. Then he's saying me to go to. All right, Amit, I'll do that. I'll select Control G. Sorry, let me take this chat. I have to close this chat. Yes.
Sanjeev, yeah, 50 people are also watching us live on Facebook. They are also answering while you're asking.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
So Control G. I'm just trying to make it a little interactive so that we go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But then whatever we learn. So that
Exactly.
so we hit special and then blanks. All right. So I got the blank. Now let me see any more answers from anyone. Oops, if I hit the chat, well, I got the answer from Gaurav Agarwal. I think this guy knows everything. So we have selected this cell. Now let me make you understand for those who are not following. Let me do it for you. I was just trying to make it a little interactive. I selected this whole table, because I want to copy the data everywhere. And then I use Control G, and then I use special. And in the special, I use blanks. Now what it does, it selects all the blank cells. Remember when I started my session, what I told you is that all the selected cells, whatever you do in the first cell, and if you hit Control Enter, it copies to the entire cells. So what we will do over here is we use the logic over here. This is what I have been saying you continuously, is that when you're working on your worksheet, your actual worksheet, your client work papers, you have to use logic. The function, knowing only the functions will never work. That will be 30% of the work. 70% will be your logic. So here the logic is, I'll say, equals to up arrow key. What does that mean? That means if I say that, hey, copy this formula down, and if I copy this formula into all the selected cells, what will happen? This formula copied here will pull in DC power. The next one will pull that. Once it comes, it will pull Atma tele power. This is how the formula will be done. All I need to do is now hit Control Enter. I do that and my work is done. Just one more repeat for you. I've selected this whole table. I've gone to Control G to select back. The steps are also written over here because you're getting this exercise so that you can practice it. But don't just read and practice, do it with your memory. And then if you get stuck up, you can go back to the step and see it. And then you use equals to up arrow key and Control Enter. Now I can do this entire exercise in 15 minutes, but I'm trying to do this in 30, 40 minutes so that, everyone follows. All right, let's move further. Sort. Wow, Sanjeev, don't get so basic. I know sorting. I've done so many sorting. What are you trying to do over here? All right, let me make it a little more interesting. If I tell you how to sort this entire table, but then the condition is that I want January to come in the first and December at the end. Well, I've never learned this because I've learned that sorting is only possible once you want to do from A to Z or Z to A. I'm sorry, there's a small railway track over here which gives some noise, but it will go away. So January to December, I've always learned that either I can go from small to large or large to small or from A to Z or Z to A. How can I make January and December? Because, my April will come at the first because it starts with A, or August will come, above January. How will I do that? Let's see how we can do that. Do I get any answer in the chat for this? Let me see. All right, I got the answer. Great. So you guys can follow chat or you can follow my thing. We have a lot of, smart Excel Pro guys. I'm sorry, you have to deal with this once we get to Power Query and other advanced function. But let's start working on this. Control A to select this table and we'll go data sort. Well, we know all of this. We know data sort and we want to sort month. Great. And we get two options only, A to Z and Z to A. This is not what we want. What we want is that a custom list. And into that, if you see there are options for January, February, March, we can define our own order of sorting. We can define our own order of sorting. So in this case, we have defined that it will start from January and will end till December. And if I hit OK, so this is the order I want. I've told Excel, sort this entire table based on these order. Okay, see, the January is going to come first, then March, then April, then June. It is actually sorted based on the calendar year and not based on alphabets. which means A to Z. Great. Now let's do this. At times, many of you might have a situation wherein, you have different designations and you always copy this, control X, cut this, and then you put it over here, insert, cut cells, every time, many of time you want to arrange this manually. How at a click of a button you can do this through sort command is again the same thing. You put that order, write that order, whatever order you want, and then you copy this, control C. Now, this is the interesting way where you are telling Excel that now I will not be working the way you want. I want to work it the way I want. I want the Excel to work it the way I want. In this case, I want to sort it by designation. And then I'll go to the custom list. And I don't see, since I have been using this regularly, I have this list. But if you don't have this list, come over here and hit Control V. This is not case sensitive. This is not space sensitive. So you can type it the way you want, hit add, and you see your list over here. This is the list which is there, which has come up. This is the order which you want. You hit OK and you hit OK over here. Your entire list gets sorted the way you want. You want the president to be on the top. You want the clerk to be on the bottom. You can sort the list of thousands of people in your organization at a click. If you have an inventory system with rating and they're all misordered, you can create your own order and you can sort the complete list at a click of a button. Great. Now, this is a very simple example. I just want to skip this. Let me show you cell referencing, which is very important. Now, what cell referencing does is, I'll be getting short of time because I want to cover all of this and another few exercises from the advanced also, so that I don't get much pressure tomorrow, because tomorrow is a very tough day. Let's see. Now, cell referencing is very important for anyone who knows Excel. This is basically the foundation of Excel, because the entire function of Excel is dependent on referencing. Now, what referencing does? Let's say I want to know the discount of all these things. Well, we know that. We'll copy this equals to multiplied by 5%. Well, I get the discount. And if I copy this formula down, it's not going to work. It is not going to work. Why? Because as soon as this formula is getting down, the formula, like what's this formula? The cursor is also moving down. It is not even staying at 5%. How will I lock this 5%? What will I do for that? Let me see if I have any answer on this. Yes. So we got the answer. Let's see. Equals to, I love when everyone is interacting with me, multiplied by this thing. And what I will do is that I'll use F4. Now, what does F4 means? I'm trying to place in dollars. I'm saying $C, $3, which means I'm trying to tell Excel that, hey, lock column C and lock column 3, which means this cell, irrespective of my formula going anywhere, this will not move. This cell will not move. If I do that and if I copy this down, I get all my thing. Watch here. Even if I do this, this is moving, but this is not moving. If I'm coming here, this is moving. This formula is moving, but this is not moving. So we lock this cell, and to do the locking, what I did is I use this toggle. Now, F4 is a very important toggle command, because if I press F4 again, it only locks the row. If I press again, it locks the column, $C3, $3. And if I press F4 again, it unlocks everything. And if I do it again, it locks both the sides. So it goes on changing with every hit of F4. This is something which is important, which needs to be learned. In this case, we have locked C and 3 both. But let's take you to another example. I think someone has, just used a whiteboard over there. But we'll get through this. This is not done by me, the green one. All right. So imagine a situation. Let me make it a little bigger. Imagine a situation, and I know many of you will give an answer for this. But if I say you a situation that I have got this sales in USD, pounds, and euros, and I get the exchange rates, and I want all the data over here to come in INR, which means let me do it manually for you. I want this 9650 to be multiplied by dollar rate. Okay. I want this to be multiplied by pound rate. So these are two different things, right? How can I achieve this with one single formula? Let me start doing that, and then I will go back to the chat to see if anybody has the answer for this. Multiplied by this. What should I do over here? If I use F4, which we have just learned, enter. And if I copy this formula as Control R to copy the formula right, Control R to copy the formula right, and Control D is to copy the formula down, right? Just remember this. And if I select this whole thing and I copy the formula down, what is going to happen? Let's see. Well, this is multiplying only with dollars. It should multiply with my euros. If I see this data, this is multiplying with dollars. So everything is getting multiplied with dollar, which is not what I want. I want the pounds to be multiplied by my pound rate and my euros to be multiplied by my euro rate. That's my objective. So let's see how we can do that. Let me see if anybody has an answer for this. Yes, I know I need to freeze that, but what's the right answer for this? Let me see. You are right. So what I will do is that I will freeze the row. If you see over here in this particular case, you know, my row number 6 is always the same for all the 3 answers. So what I will do over here is that I'll say equals to, and I'll go very slow, this multiplied by this. Okay. Now I'll go over here and I'll use F4. No, I don't want this because I don't want to lock my BCD because this keeps changing. This is what I want to do. $6. That's what I was looking from the chat. I will use $6, which means I'm saying Excel that lock row 6. You know, once the dollar is before 6, it is locking C and B can change. If this is my formula, let me do that for you. Control R, and I select it down. It's Control D. Now let me, as an auditor, check this out. Perfect. Let me check this. Perfect. And let me check this. Perfect. So this is how, with one single formula, you can do multiple multiplications of different data sets by just playing with dollar sign. We have the same example over here. I'm not going to repeat this. You can practice that. Let me go to another important section, which is called text to columns. Let's do that. All right. If you have a data like this, you know, which is separated by a comma, and you want to, you know, separate out Abdul Salam and Ismail as 2 separate names. If you want to break this data into 2 different columns where one column is your surname and the other one is a name, if that's your objective, how will you do that? I select this whole table. I select here, Control Shift down. Yes. And then I will call data text to column. Data text to column. Because what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to break this text into 2 different columns. That's why I'm using data on the top menu, text to columns. And then I can see 2 options. One is a delimiter and one is a fixed width. In this case, a delimiter is used only when you know that there is a common separator. When there is a common separator, in this case, comma is a common separator. So I will use next over here and I will select comma because that's a comma on all my records. I'll use comma, and if you see over here, it automatically breaks my column into 2 different columns. Next, and then what I will do is that I'll choose the destination because I want the output to start from here. That's my destination, B4. So I'll choose the destination by clicking over here and then clicking over here. And then if you see both the things are great, if I hit finish, it breaks this entire data into 2 different columns. That's the beauty of this. It's a very simple way to do this. Many of you must be knowing this, but let's move further. In this scenario, what is there? There are 4 different columns I want to break this entire thing. You know, one is an account number, then the item number check, and the asset description. What is my common separator over here? Can anybody answer me? What is my common separator over here? Space. All right. Amit Thakur, Arvind, space. I got many answers, space. No, you are wrong this time. Let me show it to you. If I use space, what will happen? Let me do it for you. Data text to column. And if I use delimited as space, what will happen? Next, I'll use the same thing which I've done just before. Finish. See, this is the problem. It breaks my description into different columns because even the description is having a space as a separator. So Excel will not understand this. Now, in this scenario, now this becomes very tough for me. How will I do that? So let me see if anybody has still given me the right answer. Fixed width. Yes, Gautam, you are right. We have to use fixed width, adjust width. And the way we can do that is we select this table, data, text to column again, and we'll use fixed width. Now, what does fixed width means is now we are going to say Excel, we don't believe you. We don't want to work your way. We will decide our column. We will decide our column because there is no logical way to divide this column. So I know where the logic is. So I will do it myself. I'll hit next. If you see, I see automatically Excel with his intelligence has created 4 columns for me. But in this case, since it was an organized data, it has done it. If it would have not been an organized data, we do it in bank audit. Like I do a lot of sessions on bank audit using Excel, where we get data which are totally scattered and you need a couple of steps to get a right and clean data. So in this case, if you want to create more columns, you can keep on adding wherever you want. Just by clicking there, you can, and by double clicking, it removes the column. So you can create the column the way you want, wherever you want. In this case, I see what Excel has done is perfect. Great. I'll hit next and I'll take the destination. I'll put it over here. And if I hit finish, boom, done. Is this a right answer? Anybody? Is this a right answer? Say yes or no. Anybody? Do you see this as the correct answer? Yes? Okay, the one who is saying no, it's not a right answer. Why? Even still now, it's not a right answer because if you watch over here, watch this. Let me make this a little bigger for you. We all are auditors over here. This is again 814392. But then my answer should have been 00814392 and not 814392. How should I do that? Anyone? How should I do that? Yes, so how should I do that? Anybody who can give this answer? How should I bring 00 over here? You know, what wrong did I did over there? Let me see if we have some Excel Pro guys over here. All right, so they are saying text, yes. So the way we can do this is, let me show this again for you. This is not a complete answer. So this is my original table. I'll go back here, data, text to column. I'll use fixed width, perfect. Next. This is again great. We have not done anything wrong in this step. Next. Now, one thing is very important. Watch this carefully. My destination also, we have done it correct. And when we hit finish. Now, if you see over here, they are all defined as general category. But this particular column, we cannot have it as general category. We have to convert that into text. So this is again one of the way where we can convert number into text. We can convert text to number and number to text or to date. Now, at times when we are cleaning data, text to column can help a lot in this. So this particular data I want to convert into text because if it would have been a number, 00 will never come in the first. So we have to convert this data into text. And now if I hit finish, this is what I want. This is a perfect answer for all of you. Got it? Good. Let's move further. Find and replace. We have another 10 or 15 minutes before I'll be opening for questions. I'll take this exercise and one or two more exercises on advanced, and then we'll wind up the session so that tomorrow we'll have all the advanced session. We'll not have anything basic tomorrow, dear. So let's understand Control F. Control F or find function is very, very important if I want to, clean a data which looks something like this. A data which looks something like this. Let me go back there. Now, what if I want, let me make it a little bigger for all of you to see. Okay. If I have a data like this, if it is looking like this, and I want this only the first name to come in, only the first name to come in for all of this. Now I want to delete all of this from this table. Then I will come here and want to delete all of this after Jeb Ebony. I want to delete all of this after Jennifer Adams. What should I do? The first command is I select this table. I'll use Control H. Now what should I find? Let me see if anybody has an answer for this. What should I find? I still don't get an answer for this. No, question mark is not an answer. What should I find and what should I replace with? Let me first answer. All right, great. No, Rahul, it's not star slash. It is slash star. All right. So what I've seen, let me make you understand, is we have a slash followed by whatever it is. So what I will say Excel is, hey Excel, find me a front slash, Control H, and find me a front slash and anything after that, which is a star. So Rahul was saying star slash, which is not right. It is slash star. So I'm saying Excel that find me slash and anything after that and replace that with nothing, zero. I'll not even type in zero, not even space, just blank. Replace. It cleans up everything for you. All right? Good. Now the second thing. What if I only want to know the first name? Only the first name. I want only Ismail to come, only Jeff to come, only Jennifer to come. Again, let me see who can answer. What will I find? Let's see who can answer this. No, KCP, we cannot have multiple findings. There's another way to do that. But how will I? Let's stick to this. Yes, Arvind, you're absolutely right. So in this case, again, let me repeat this example. We want to know that the way I'm interacting right now, tomorrow it will not be possible for me to do so many interactions because advanced is a little more tougher. So you have to go with the pace a little. But yes, if I am using this thing and I Control H, and what am I finding out? The first thing which is going to come up is space. I hit a space over here and anything after that. Space star, which means a space, I hit a space key and star after that and replace with nothing. And if I hit replace, all the first name will come in. This is so beautiful. Find and replace helps you clean so much of data which you want. So this is all the basic part which we have covered right now. I'll just touch on, I have this entire folder for all you guys. I've shared this folder. Those who have not received all the files today will receive again tomorrow. But these are the things which I'll be covering tomorrow. Just we'll do today. Let me see what we can do today. We'll do a little of, we have 15 minutes, right, Rahul? And then we'll have 15 minutes of question answers. So we'll try and do.
Yes, we have, but if you want, we can extend the session by another 10-15 minutes.
I want to do that tomorrow's session to be totally for people who are pro guys and they should get a value out of it. So done enough for the persons who have basic knowledge of Excel. So tomorrow I want to do most of pros. So we will try and close VLOOKUP and a little of pivot, and then we'll end up. But then I'll start with pivot again tomorrow. Will that sound good? I think someone.
Yes, that sounds good.
All right. What is VLOOKUP? Now VLOOKUP, is something which is very, very important while we are doing an audit functions. If you say you are querying a database, you are going to an SAP environment or an ERP environment, you are pulling a lot of data and you want to know a data which is matching this data, which means in this particular example, which in real life you will never get a data of only 12 rows, you will not even get a data of 12 million rows. That's what you're going to work on in future. But let's imagine a situation where you get a data of 12 rows and you want to find the employee ID from these table. And when you find this employee ID, you want to know the name of that person. That's what your objective is. That's where VLOOKUP plays a very important role. What we will do right now is we'll say equals to VLOOKUP. It's like an eagle. What eagle does? Eagle actually goes and finds the target, and then so it's actually going to go into the database and search for this employee ID. That's what is the power of VLOOKUP. Let me make it a little bigger for you. So what I'll do is I'll write the formula equals to VLOOKUP, right? Equals to VLOOKUP. And the first question it is going to ask me is, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the employee ID. That's my first objective. I'm looking for this employee ID, comma. And the second question which comes up is table array. From where am I looking for? From this table. Now, one thing which you need to understand is VLOOKUP has a small little nakra, a small little condition. And the condition is that whatever you're searching for, that should be my first column. That should be my index column of the table. So in this case, since I'm searching for an employee ID, my table should start from year and not from serial number. If name would have been something which I would have been searching for, I would have copied the name to the left and employee ID on the right. So the entire condition of VLOOKUP is that whatever you are searching for, that search should be the index column of the table which you are selecting. Excuse me. All right, I'm sorry. The second objective is, if you have this table, you have to make sure that you need to lock this table. What we have learned just now, F4. To lock this table, we use F4, which means when I'm copying this formula down, my table should not separate out. All right, so I'm selecting this employee ID. I'll repeat this again because I think there was a small distraction from my side. All right, equals to VLOOKUP. The first thing which I'm trying to say is that I'm searching for this employee ID. Great, done. From where? From this table. And VLOOKUP has a condition which says that whatever you're searching for, that should be an index column. So I have to make employee ID as my first column. Shift down, and I have to log this cell. Why I need to log this cell? Because if I copy this formula down, which we have just seen in cell referencing, my entire table will go down. So I have to log this table as F4, comma. My third question is column index number, which means what should I give if I find this data? I need the name. And name is, what is the column number of the name? Tell me. Is it 2 or 3? Name is my third column or the second column for this table? Anybody? I think, you know, all right, 2. Yes, Nagaraj, right. Rahul, good. So are we seeing the right sheet? Just let me see if I have shared the right sheet. I'm so sorry.
No. We are not seeing the right sheet.
No. We are not seeing the right screen. I'm so sorry. Yes, so let me share the screen for you. Are you guys seeing my selections? The right screen, because once the new Excel file come in, we have to make sure that the screen is selected. Yes, now okay. Thank you. Sorry guys. So let me do this again for you. So this is a VLOOKUP sheet which we have. The objective of the VLOOKUP sheet is basically it works as an eagle, wherein we say that we want to find employee ID from this particular table. In real life, you'll never get this table with 12 data rows, but we just, for the understanding purpose, we are trying to use this wherein we are looking for an employee ID from this table. And once we get the employee ID, we want to know the name behind it. That's the objective. So create the VLOOKUP command again. We'll say the first thing is that I'm looking for employee ID. Okay, great, comma. The second thing is that from where? From this table, right? And VLOOKUP as a condition, which I just said that the whatever you're searching for should be your first column. So your table should start from here. Now, what if you had name as a filter over here? You were looking for a name. In that case, you have to copy this name and make it as a first column. So always your table should start with the column which you are searching for. That is something which you always need to remember. F4 to lock this table, because if I'm copying this formula down, then what will happen is that table will go down. So I don't want the table to shift, and that's why I need to lock this comma. And the third question is column index number, which means what should I get if I find this employee ID? I already got the answer. I need column number 2. I don't have column number 3 because this is not in the range of my table. So I'll say 2. Don't get confused over here when you're working on a bigger data set. It's 2. And my last question is, I want an exact match. You can use false or you can use 0 also. I'll close this bracket, hit enter, it gets me Hobbs Paxi. Let me check this out for you. Yes, the same employee ID is Hobbs Paxi. Now, if I copy this formula down, it pulls all the name behind it. This is not coming because this employee ID is not in the table. Now, if I want to change this to, if I want to know the age, all I need to do is that I change this 2 to 4. Yes. And if I double click this whole thing again, I'll get the age of all the employee ID which I'm talking of. This is the power of VLOOKUP, which I've just shown you in a very, very simple format. It gets more and more stronger and better. But let's see index match, because if you see index match, you will never want to use VLOOKUP. Again, the more I take you further, once you learn Power Query, you will feel that whatever I've learned in last 1.5 days, is not required. Power Query takes care of everything. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to show you everything through the formula, and then I'm trying to show you all the powerful functions which will take care of the smaller functions. Now let's understand index with match. Now this is little advanced, much advanced than whatever we have learned right now. So please pay 100% attention to this, those who have never used index with match. Now what is index? Let's first understand index. Equals to index. All right. Now, if I say index this, and if I say, tell me row number 2 and column number 3. What is row number 2 is this, product 1 and column number 3. So what should my answer be? 4,000. This is my answer, right? What is this? This is row number 2 and column number 3. If I use, row number 3 and column number 4, what will be my answer? So I'll say row number 3, my answer should be 3,500, right? Yes. Well, what are you doing, Sanjeev? Is this solving a purpose? If I'm doing everything madly, what's the purpose of index? I don't see index having any value. You're right. Index is basically returning the row number and the data behind the row number and the column number. But if you use index with match, if you combine both of them, they become super powerful. They become so powerful that you can create a variable like this, that you select any of this, you can write a small little program and you select any of this, it pulls up the data. So you can have 2 variables and you can use multiple conditions and you still get the price. So basically writing a small little program right now by using index and match. Let's do that. You are ready? Please watch this very carefully. I'll say equals to index, the same formula, okay? And I'll use this table. I may or may not lock it. Okay, let's lock it, doesn't matter, because we are not, we are using only one form. We are not copying the formula down. Now my second question is row number. Oh, I don't know the row number in this case. I don't even know the row number. I don't even know the column number. So how will I tell the row number? There I will use a command which is called match. Match for me, help me out. So I'll use match as a additional function over and above the index function. And match is basically like a VLOOKUP, which we have just learned. Match is saying, all right, show me the lookup value, the array, and the match type. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for product 1, or basically this variable, which can be auto-changed, comma, from where? From the lookup array. Now, this is my array over here. This is my array, which is all the products. That's it, comma. And I need an exact match, all right? So my row is all sorted out. Now my column, the same thing. Again, I will call match. Boom. I look for match value, which is NCR, which is the variable, comma. And again, I'll say this is the city. Just the row, not the whole table, dear. Don't use the whole table, comma. And I need the exact match. Boom. Close, close. Done. Product one NCR. Product one NCR is 4,000. Great. If I use product 4 and if I use Bangalore, this data automatically changes. Product 4, Bangalore 458. Wow. So I can change the way I can play anything. So this is how you can play with your GST table. You can play with your income tax table. You can play with your computation. With any changes, the data changes. This is how with a small little formula of index with match, I'm able to create a small little program on Excel with two variables. This is how you can play with the index and match. All right, just one more exercise on pivot dashboard. Now, this is where I'm going to create a curiosity. This is where I'm going to end, but I will start again from here tomorrow. Is, what is happening today? Like when I'm working with my US clients, I have all my clients based in America. And what we have learned is, it's the power of, creating a dynamic dashboard. And you can do this dashboard right from Excel. Creating a dashboard, because today, think about a situation that you are going to a client with a 50-page report of trial balance of all the details. They don't care about it. They want 1 or 2-pager report, which is dynamic, real time, which gives them a what if analysis, which gives them a benchmarking, which gives them a vision of what things will happen if I do take this decision or do not take this decision. So this is where your role is important. And you can create a dashboard like this, in 5 minutes, in 2 minutes, you can create this dashboard. This is what we are going to learn. Now I'll just give you a vision of this. Like imagine this is a graph of region, segment, color, and model. And all I want to know the entire dynamics of cable lock. My entire data changes. My entire graph changes according to it. If I want to know only for Germany, my entire data, what are the products which are available, the entire thing change based on the country. So I can play with all this wonderful. If I want to know only black, which are the countries there, what are the percentage, everything is dynamic over here. So I can have various permutation and combinations to play with this graph. This is what we call as a dynamic dashboard, wherein you are sitting in a conference room and you have multiple parameters and you are trying to describe a situation based on various parameters is what pivot table is all about. And imagine tomorrow we are going to learn Power Pivot, wherein you will be adding multiple files, you'll be adding multiple sheets, multiple tables to create this dynamic dashboard. This becomes so important for you. Let's see. Let's go through this journey of pivot table. So imagine a situation. Let's go to this table. You guys excited? If this is a table wherein, you see, there's an employee table wherein you have a date of joining, you have name, salary, division, rating, and age. And the data of, let's say, 420 employees or 417 employees, because I have two data as a header. So it's basically 417 employees. I want to create a pivot table of this. I select this whole table, insert pivot table, insert pivot table. Now, please watch this because just 3 or 4 steps are important in this. And after that, you are just playing a game. You are just playing like a game and you can create multiple reports at a click of a second. So new worksheet. Okay. I click over here. On the right-hand side, you see all my columns, my date of joining, name, salary, division, rating, and age. Now, I can configure this to make it a drag and drop interface. What I will do in that is that I'll right-click this, pivot table options, display, classic. That's all you need to remember. I repeat again, right-click, pivot table options, display, classic. Now, what it does is that it allows you to create a dashboard, a report in a drag and drop interface, which means if I now want to know salary by division, all I need to do is that I take a salary in my mouse, and throw it over here. And I take a salary and throw it over here. Just 2 seconds and I get a report, salary by division. I can always format this with commas and, I can make it beautiful and I can take a print of this. Well, Sanjeev, this is easy. Even I can do this by using filters and many other stuff. Well, if I say I want to know salary by division and the number of people working in that division, And what's the average salary of each person in that division? What's the average salary? So let's do that. I'll again copy this salary here. I'll again copy this salary. I get 3 columns. Right click this, summarize value by average, summarize value by count. There's so many options, see? And if I want to create one more column over here, and this time I'll say show value as percentage of grand total. Look at this report. And if I make this as, if I just remove all the variables over here and just make it look like this. This is a report which you can do in 5 seconds, and you can take a print of this. Well, I want to know who are those 6 people working in RDD division. I can always double click this and I can take a print of all this, as a separate data. So you can create as many reports as you want. This is going to get more and more exciting. Let's move further. Let's build more reports. If I want to know, the age groups, let's say I want to know the division and the age. What are the people working on different ages? So I have an age from 25 to as many number of ages. I want to group that to say how many people are working in the age bracket of 25 to 35, 35 to 45. This you cannot do manually. Even if I want to make a group of 5. Okay. So I know how many people in these division in the range of 25 to 29, 30 to 34, 35 to 39. This is what is my objectives. This is where intelligence is coming up slowly and slowly. And this is what I was talking about KPI. I'm talking about infographic. If you go into a newspaper and you see that the things which attract you is an infographic, information in a graphical format. And now if I just put in the data over here, at a click of a second, I get to know out of these 417 employees, 37 employees are in the age bracket of 55 to 59 years. You will never be able to do that manually or with any other formulas. This report you can pull yourself. And you can always click and double click, and you want to know a particular division, ED division with 45 to 49 years of salary, you can do that. So many permutation combinations. You can print bunch of reports, and these are the reports you can show it to your clients, and they will love it. Let's build one report, and then I will show you how we can do a basic dynamic dashboard. Is what if I play with the salary? All right, I have a salary over here. I right click this and I group this from 0 to this, and I group it by 1 lakh. Boom. And let's say I also want to do the division as a column over here. All right, I can place it over here also. I can place it over here. It doesn't matter. It's one and the same. Okay. And then if I want to know the salary again, so I get the count over here. I can change that to sum or whatever I want. But let's say this is what I wanted to know, that out of these 470 people in RD division, there are 166 people in my company who is earning salary in the range of 0 to 1 lakh. And there are 4 people in my company who is in the range of 9 lakh to 10 lakh, and of which 1 is from LG AD division and 3 is from RD division. This is my data. Now I want to create a chart of this. Let's say I want to create a chart of this. So I'll create this pivot chart. I'll go to a pie chart. Okay. And let's say I love this chart. I'll bring it over here. I'm just giving an example. This is clear to all of you. I've just done this. I can always go back and configure this the way I want. I can add more charts, more data. I'm just trying to build a dashboard for all of you. Now what I will do is that I will add slices to it, which means I will go over here. So how I pull this up, let me repeat this for you very quickly. I'll come up over here and I will use pivot chart. And I have plenty of options over here, which you can always go and play with what you want. Let's say I select the first one, okay. And I place it away. I can make it bigger, smaller. I can configure it the way I want. I can make it as big and as small as I want. So this is my chart for this. And now I want some dynamics to go on with this. So I will insert slicer. Now this is where slicers come in. This is not connected because my pivot chart was not on. Now I've just selected there and I will hit slicer again. and I call in the rating because I didn't have the rating and the age. Those are the parameters which I wanted to call. Watch here. Right? Now I have these 417 people working in this organization. Now what's this two dashboard? If I want to know all the dynamics related to people in the age of 40 to 44 years, everything changes automatically. There are 54 people with this rating, with this salary bracket, with this graph. So all of this changes. Now I want to further filter that which says 40 to 44 years and with rating 3, 11 people. So this is how you can play with all this. This is what your client wants today. This is what they want. You can take a print of this. You can present them on a live screen and you can work with them in a dynamic method. So you can add as many slicer as you want. You can create as many charts as you want, and you can make a real dynamic dashboard out of pivot table. With that, I leave a thought for all of you to come up with all your questions, whatever you have. We'll spend 10 minutes on that, and then we'll wind up the session because time is the biggest essence. We all wanted to join on time. I was very happy that the president and Rahul has an opinion to start everything on time, and we should end on time as well. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Yeah. Any queries, please keep typing it. How do we apply slicer?
You just create the connection and there is insert slicer over there.
Okay.
When you use false or zero, so when you do an exact match, you use false or zero.
Okay.
Can we have people find and replace? Yes, you can have a control edge, but I don't think you have multiple, and for find and replace. I don't remember using that ever. Sorry,
Okay.
KCP.
Nitin is asking, when do we use false or zero?
As I said, when we are using an exact match.
Okay. Vikas Batwal Bhaiya is asking how to create drop down. I think it is created automatically. You can just use the filter.
Yeah. So that's one way, or the other way. See, if you there is another way wherein you can go into. Let me show it for you. There's an option wherein you go and you create a drop down. Are you looking for drop down arrow keys? Is that what you're looking for? Yes, validation. Yes, maybe. So you can go to data validation, and from there you can see that. Let me show it for you if you want to see that. Let me share the screen again. And let's say you have a blank Excel. Let me create an Excel for you. All right, if this is an Excel and you have apple, you have mango, I love fruits, you have banana. Let's say these are the 3 Excels and you want to create a validation of this. We'll say for data. There's an option called validation. Let me see, because I've never used this easy commands now. Let me see where the validations are. Definitely in your data sheet. Is there someone who's going to help me? Yeah, in data.
You can use the shortcut Alt AV.
Alt AD?
AV.
AV. Oh, yes. Yes, so data validations. I don't know why the options is not coming up over here, but thank you, Mure. So you can go into here and use list over here. And then in list, you can select a source. You can select this entire table, whatever size of table you have, enter, and then enter. And then you'll see a drop down for all the data which you have. Yes. Thank you so much, Vasant sir.
Bhaiya, there are a couple of questions from Facebook. So Rishabh Kundu is asking, sir, can we see text to column in bank report?
Yes, again, Rishabh, I can, I don't have the case study right now. You can go into
Queries, please keep typing it.
You can go into YouTube and search for bank audit using Excel. I have a dedicated video only for that. You go into YouTube and type in bank audit using Excel, and then you can type in my name as well. So you get those videos. That video will demonstrate, how you can take a PDF file and you can actually extract that into text to column and can clean that and finally get into what you actually want in a bank audit. So you'll get a dedicated video, which is a 30-40 minutes video, and you'll love to see that.
Okay. Thank you, Bhaiya. There is one more question from Rajendra Agarwal. Can you share command chart for dynamic dashboard?
Command charts, I think everything is drag and drop. There's no command as such for that. I'll be starting my pivot table again tomorrow with the same thing so that we gear up for that. So pivot table, I'll do it again. But dynamic dashboard is all about, pulling, dragging and drop and putting a data in. It's like designing your reports. There's no command as such for doing a dashboard.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Difference between, Naveen Sharma is asking again on Facebook, difference between VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP.
So VLOOKUP is for vertical lookup, HLOOKUP is for horizontal lookup. Otherwise, everything remains the same. So you can use different examples for VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. It's just when you are trying to look up for data which are vertical, then you are using VLOOKUP. But if you are trying to look up for data which are all horizontal, their table is all horizontal, and you want data designed in that way, then you should use HLOOKUP.
Okay, Bhaiya, thank you. One question which has come in the message, KCP is asking, can we have multiple find and replace?
No, I think we have answered that questions.
You have? Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
KCP XLOOKUP is basically in Office 365. I'm afraid I'm not using that tomorrow. What I'm focusing on more is Power Pivot, Power Query, and macros.
Okay. Ketan Satnalia is asking, sorry. Is there any way that data in A1 can be shifted to B1 and B1 data into A1? Basically interchanging data in two columns.
No, I actually have never practiced that. Myself, I will look into this, and if I get an answer, I'll definitely let you know tomorrow, Bhaiya.
Wonderful. Okay, Bhaiya, that was it. I have a personal question of mine.
First, Rahul, you need to answer my question from Manoj Sureka ji. You have this session live on Facebook. Will you be making it live on YouTube as well?
It will not be live on YouTube. It will be uploaded later on.
Yeah, it can go live, but we don't do that again because of bandwidth issues. भैया हमको Jio बहुत ज़्यादा bandwidth नहीं दे के रखा है. So let's do it properly in one place. But whatever sessions we are doing, it is recorded, and later that evening it is uploaded on Facebook. So you can visit, on YouTube. So you can go to YouTube and search for VIP Road Chartered Accountant Study Circle, and you'll find our channel, and there you'll find all the things.
Great, Rahul. You are an IT man for VIP, I guess.
Sorry, no, I'm not.
Giving
your follower, sir.
Giving you the right responsibility for making sure that VIP is always on the top.
Thank you, sir. Any more queries so that?
So Rahul, I can answer your question offline, right?
Of course you can. There are too many questions anyways coming in. So, thank you everyone for joining. I'll quickly pass over the proceedings to our secretary, Bajrang Agarwal ji. Bhaiya, please take over and offer a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Ajay Riaz. Thank you, Manish.
Offer a formal vote of thanks to our dynamic speaker. Bajrang bhaiya, you're muted. Okay, yeah. I have unmuted you. Okay, I have unmuted you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, all the participants, CS Sanjeev Sanghi ji, and all the participants. It's a night presentation by CS Sanjeev Sanghi ji. I am sure इस तरह अगर ये कारवा चलता रहा तो all the participants, all the CA will be high tech in near future. Thank you so much, Bajrang. Thank you for your encouragement, and do this. We will do a second session tomorrow. So all the participants are requested. Please come. Please participate tomorrow also. Nice presentation, sir. And I thanks to all the participants, without which this webinar cannot be successful. Thanks to all. Thank you. Thank you very much. I again wants to thank Rajesh Bhaiya for giving a wonderful introduction to start with. I don't think so I deserve this, Bhaiya. I think VIP is doing a much bigger.
No. let me tell you, let me tell you that we need to excel. I think we have come to only A to E, and going to A to Z is a big task.
It's a journey.
We
We
have solved that. We have.
all need to travel together.
No, you're always great effort to teach us. In fact, I will tell you that to teach us, it is a really great effort on your part. Thank you so much for giving us so wonderful time, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Be
you.
stay safe and have a good day. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Stay home.
Stay home, stay safe.